This video is 5 boundaries that you need to set with your clients up front, and this will work for anyone who has kind of an ongoing working relationship with their clients. So let's dive in. Hi, I'm Laney. I'm a wedding invitation designer, and I love to help people start and grow successful creative businesses. So this will work for anyone, whether you're a florist, a graphic designer, a wedding planner, a stationery designer like me, anyone who's kind of working with clients over a period of time. You need to have boundaries in place. And that's because no one's going to change their behavior. So if you don't set these boundaries up front, they're going to expect you to keep letting them walk all over you. And it's counterintuitive. We think customer service, I should say yes. I should let the customer do whatever they want. That's not actually true, because you know who lets customers do whatever they want? It's people who are new, people who are desperate for the business, people who've never done this before. On the other hand, you have successful businesses who have been there before, who know their process, who aren't desperate for the client work, and who have a busy schedule of other clients they have to accommodate as well. Those people set clear boundaries and walk the clients through the process with confidence and expertise. So here's 5 boundaries that you need to set and how I would recommend setting them. First up is going to be your office hours. Anytime they can expect to be able to get a hold of you or expect a response from you, that is going to be included in your email signature, on your website, maybe on your contact form, or anytime that you're kind of there waiting to hear back from you, you can go ahead and reiterate those office hours. Now it's up to you. You're the only one who can enforce this boundary. So if they call you at 7 p.m. and your office hours end at 5, you're not allowed to pick up, even if it is an okay time for you, because then they're going to continue to expect to be able to reach you outside of office hours, not just at 7 p.m., but maybe at 5 a.m., maybe at midnight, maybe on the weekends, and you don't want to enforce that boundary. So it's up to you to make sure you do that. One way I love to do this is with email. So if I send an email after my typical office hours, I can schedule it to send at 9 a.m. the next day so that they think it came within office hours and they don't think I'm sitting at my computer sending emails at 9 at night but not answering their phone calls. Similarly, a second boundary is response times. This can also be included in your email signature. Mine just says something like, sometimes I have to do research or work on other client work, so you can expect to hear back from me within 48 business hours. I purposely do not respond to my clients immediately at the very beginning of our relationship, because I don't want them to get used to that, because then the one time when I'm not able to, I have them panicking and wondering what's going on and why they haven't heard from me. So I like to respond within a day or two, usually not within the first couple hours they reach out to me. The third boundary you'll set is communication methods. I don't really let clients text me unless it's very specific situations like, hey, I'm about to send this and I want to confirm the address, or hey, can I call you in a few minutes? Something like that. I'm not going to answer any text messages outside of that. If you decide you want to do that, that's fine, but just put your boundaries in your contract, put them somewhere they have to review them and sign them. And if someone is like texting you a lot, calling you a lot, and that's not your process, you can always send them an email and say, hey, I really need to keep everything here so I have access to it in writing. Number 4 is the scope, and this is going to be different for every type of project and every type of business out there. I'm an invitation designer, so scope includes things like the hours I'll spend on the project, the number of pieces they're going to get, the number of revisions they can get, how much custom artwork is going to be included. So it's up to you to define that scope. I typically am going to define this on the invoice and also in the contract. And then if there are any limitations they should be aware of, I'm going to also put those in the invoice and in the contract so they've signed off on that. Now, it's important when you're enforcing this boundary to start early. So if I allow 3 revisions, I don't want to wait till the 3rd one and say, oh, sorry, that was your last revision, I'm going to charge you for the 4th one. I want to start at the beginning and say, this is your first of 3 included revisions, so that they understand, okay, I need to get everything done by the time we're on round 3, and they're not met with like surprise charges. Yes, it's in their contract. Yes, they should have read it, but anything that you can do to preempt some of that difficulty is going to, first of all, help with the scope creep in the first place, and second of all, make your clients happier and not surprise them. However, if you get to the end point and you've given them an extra hour of work, you've given them 2 extra revisions, and then you try to say, hey, this is outside the scope of your project, they might be a little confused. They're gonna be like, why did you give me an hour? And now you're saying I have to pay you $100 for an additional hour, etc. So make sure when you're talking about scope, it's clear from the very beginning how much they're getting. And then any kind of issues you've had in the past with scope creep, just mention those. Hey, by the way, you're only getting 3 revisions. By the way, this is not including X, Y, and Z service. This package includes ABC service only. And then the 5th boundary you should set is usage. So this could work for a photographer, a florist. I'm a wedding invitation designer. So anytime you're giving kind of deliverables to a client of any sort, you have to be clear in the usage they're allowed to have with them. They are not allowed to take a monogram that I've created and painted and use it for their menus or napkins or anything without my explicit permission. So this is something that's in the contract. However, it's something I find really helpful to repeat over and over again. For me, most of the time it's something we've used on their invitations they want to use again on the day of the wedding for like menus, place cards, etc. So I'll just send them a reminder and say, hey, if you want to talk about wedding day stationery, here are the timelines for when we should start discussing that and some common things that people order. As a reminder, all of the elements that we created can be reused on any of the elements that I create. Otherwise, I could always give you a licensing agreement that will allow you to purchase those for use on other objects. So just as a kind of reminder to them, if something happens where they do use it outside of the breach of contract, you have to be ready to enforce that, and you have to be ready to show that you have made it very clear to them they were not allowed to use those pieces. So I'd love to challenge you to test out creating some of these boundaries this week. I bet at least one of them, probably like office hours or response times, really hit home for a lot of you. So practice setting these boundaries and see how it feels. You can practice in the mirror beforehand. You can practice a few times so you get used to saying, hi, my office hours are this. Hey, I don't actually respond to text messages because I need everything in my email inbox. I'd really appreciate it if you would just email me all of your corrections. As you set these boundaries, it's going to feel easier and easier, and I think you'll be really surprised with how much more your clients start to trust you because they understand that you are confident in your process and you know what you're doing because you've obviously done this before. You're not just saying yes to them to say yes to them, but you are a true professional who has these boundaries, and this is such a great way to show value to your clients that's a little bit unexpected and a little bit counterintuitive. While you're here, I hope you'll check out some of our other videos on starting and growing your successful creative business. And I hope you'll leave a comment to let me know what you thought of this video and subscribe if you are interested in more content like this.